to have.
Yes, Master.
No fair. Hey guys, welcome back. Please pardon the frizz. I'm looking desperately for something to have for lunch besides potatoes and eggs. Today's going to be another top 10 countdown, and today I'm counting down the top 10 creatures in Star Wars. Once again, these are only going to be the creatures that were featured in the Star Wars saga. Disagree with me if you want, but here we go. Number 10 on the list is the Crate Dragon. This is something we've never actually seen, but we have heard. The call of the Crate Dragon was what Ben Kenobi imitated on Tatooine to scare off the Tusken Raiders when he was looking for Luke. A Crate Dragon's actually something I'd like to see. I don't know if it shows up in the Clone Wars, but I'm hopeful. Number 9 is this little guy, a Porg. Now, the reason I put Porgs on the list is even though they're not important to the story, let's face it, they're adorable. I absolutely love Porgs. They're so cute. Number 8 is a creature we see a lot in Star Wars, and that's a dewback. Dewbacks, of course, are those giant lizards that the stormtroopers ride, and they're native to Tatooine. We've seen them at least twice, definitely in episodes 4 and episode 1. And while I don't think I'd want to have one for a pet, they do look fairly even-tempered and like fairly reliable, if slow, mounts. Number 7 is yet another creature native to Tatooine, and that's a bantha. Bantha is the first creature we hear called by name in episode 4. The first bantha was actually a poor elephant covered in a fursuit in the desert. That poor animal. But it did the job, and they look like fairly easygoing creatures. I don't think I'd want to ever own one because they're so enormous and I don't know how to control one. Number 6 is the Rancor. Now, in the Legends books, Rancors were native to Dathomir. In the original novelization of Return of the Jedi, the Rancor was supposedly some sort of scientific experiment gone horribly wrong. In the new canon, I have no idea what the official word on the Rancor is, only that they're big, they're ugly, and very hungry, and of course, that's the little monster that Jabba kept in the basement, and it's a good thing Luke was able to avoid that creature. Ugh. Number 5 on the list is the Sarlacc. This may be one of the most mysterious creatures on the list because all we ever see of it, depending on which version you watch, is either a big mouth with tentacles or a big gaping maw with tentacles and a big thing that comes out and grabs things. Either way, it's huge and fairly frightening. And of course, the Sarlacc is what Han and Luke and Chewbacca are about to get dumped into in episode 6, so I would say it's fairly important to the storyline. Number 4 on the list is the Wampa. We first see the Wampa in The Empire Strikes Back, and the Wampa's fairly noteworthy because not only did it capture Luke and give him an opportunity to show off what he'd learned about telekinesis, calling his lightsaber into his hand and escaping that way. Mark Hamill mentioned something about the Wampa. He's a big-time animal lover. He sees Luke, the character, as an animal lover. And when he swung the lightsaber at the Wampa, he said, "Well, I'm just nicking its fur, right? I'm not killing it or anything, because it's not evil. It's just hungry." And the special effects guys are like, "Don't worry about it. Just do the scene, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about the Wampa." And so he gets to the movie, and lo and behold, he's chopped off the Wampa's arm, and Mark wasn't too happy about that because he's got such a soft heart. And, you know, it's like a hungry bear. You don't want to kill it. You just want to sort of get away. Number 3 on the list is the Dianoga. Now, the Dianoga, of course, is the creature that was living in the trash compactor in Episode 4, also known as, just plain the original Star Wars. And all we ever see of it in the movies is this little eyeball that pops up on a stalk and looks around and then goes back in, and of course the tentacle that wraps around Luke. Now, the Dianoga is an interesting creature. I don't know where it's native to, and I don't even know how it got in the trash compactor in the first place. But it's probably one of the ugliest creatures in Star Wars. Would not want to have it for a pet. And I have to say, the scene where the Dianoga is strangling Luke, compare that to the scene in 1960s Swiss Family Robinson, at the scene where this giant snake is wrapped around one of the characters. Compare that to the scene where Luke is fighting the Dianoga, and you can see a lot of similarities there. Number 2 on the list is a Tauntaun. Now, of course, Tauntauns were seen in The Empire Strikes Back, and apparently they smelled terrible because of the remark that Han Solo made after he sliced one of them open to keep Luke warm. They were big, furry snow lizards. The Mythbusters actually tested to see if a person could survive when shoved inside an Arctic animal in sub-zero temperatures for about 2 hours, just long enough to build a snow cave. And it was confirmed, yeah, Luke would have survived, so that part of the science was right. And while I don't think I'd want to have a real Tauntaun, I would love to have enough space to have a giant stuffed Tauntaun like what Adam Savage made to test them. That thing was about 8 feet tall, covered in fur. It was basically a former mattress that had been carved out, and it looked awesome. I want a prop that big. That would be so cool. And number 1 on my list, I'm going to warn you, it's probably going to be a little bit controversial that I put this at the number 1 spot, but by far it is my favorite creature from Star Wars, and that is the Fathier. Of course, we don't see the Fathiers until the most recent episode, The Last Jedi, and a lot of people have debated, like, oh, they were just put in there to push animal rights, or they freed the horses but not the kids. What's going on? Well, I don't have much to say about the Fathiers in the story as a whole, but they are the one creature I wish so bad that I could own, because they're like a cross between a horse and a dog, and they look like they've got really neat personalities. And I wouldn't even want to ride one. I just want to keep one for a pet. Of course, I would need a humongous backyard and a fence about 30 feet tall, but still, I think that would be the coolest animal to have for a pet out of all the creatures that have been shown in the Star Wars movie. Well, guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for this thing being kind of spur of the moment. I just made up this list this morning because I kept pushing it back and forgetting about it. I'm like, no! Yeah, okay, I'm a master procrastinator. Question of the day. Which non-sentient creature from the Star Wars movies is your favorite? Go ahead and post a comment below. Stay tuned tomorrow because I'm going to be posting another reaction video. Maybe 2 more, I don't know. Because people are sending things to my inbox like, oh, react to this, react to this, react to this. It's going to take me a while to catch up to it. And plus, I'm still working on rewatching Clone Wars. But until next time, this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off. And I'm sorry for my own creature, the dog, barking. So, bye guys.